Hope you enjoyed what Frank Pollack had to say in part one of our In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. He's even better in part two, I promise. It is amazing, Coach. And I mean, you've seen it. You've been around the league a long time now. And the defensive players, Miles Murphy, 270 plus pounds, runs a 4.5. It's like, what? I mean, it's like, that was like almost a unicorn. That would be totally rare. Now there's a bunch of them. I mean, there's so many guys in the league now that have crazy size speed ratio numbers. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's insane how talented the league has become, especially on those edge rushers in the league. And you've got to help the guys with scheme, and they also got to be on top of their game from a technique and fundamental standpoint. And they got to know when they could, I don't want to say cheat, but when you can be more aggressive and get on a guy, because the formation, do I have a receiver or a tight end that's covering this cat up where I know he's not going to be able to beat me off the ball with a speed rusher? There's a guy in his way, in his rush lane, whether we're chipping on him or not. Understanding the play, whether it's a play action, and then mixing up your angles of attack and your strikes, so you're constantly keeping that guy on his toes. I mean, I like to use the comparison or the analogy that, you're a baseball pitcher and that guy's a major league hitter, and you can't have one pitch. I don't care how fast your fastball is. Major league hitters are going to time you up and just start roping you. You got to have different pitches. And that's really, from a pass pro standpoint, that's your sets and your strikes are got to be constantly changing. And whether that's built into the play that's called, or the O-line call that's called, and or down in distance, or the personnel, the actual guy you're going against, that your film study, that things you can change up and attack this guy with, and change up. So you really got to try to nullify that freakish athletic ability, the advantage that they have. And the real big thing that I'm always telling our guys is you got to take away two things, and that's time and space. That guy's a better athlete, and if you give him time and you give him space, he's always going to beat you. I mean, to be extreme, I tell him my old ass can go out there and get open on a pass route if I've got an hour to get open. I don't give a shit who the corner is covering me. I'm eventually going to get open enough for the quarterback to throw the ball. And now I'm not going to be able to catch it, but at least open where he can throw me the ball. You know what I'm saying? To be extreme. Yep. So I want to take away those elements. I mean, corner play is a lot like offensive tackle, offensive line play. It's kind of funny how the DB relationship is there, but we want to take away time and space to help nullify and even out that unfair advantage these athletes, these freakish athletes, have on the edge. It's amazing what these guys can do in the league.
So in the coaching world, this time of year, you're out in the mountains in Arizona right now, Coach, and this is really, from a coach's perspective, it's the only time you get to recharge the battery big time and, spend some time, maybe get away from football a little bit. Once the season starts, man, you guys are in full-time grind mode. I mean, serious hours. Bye week, you still have to break down, boy, do we have any tendencies? You're working on yourself and upcoming opponents and everything. The players maybe get a little bit of time, but the coaches, boy, it is grind time. So how precious is this time period that you got right now in terms of recharging a little bit?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, it's I don't know if I can make it without having this nice little month off before we start the grind. So it's a good mental refresher. It's a good time to really get reacquainted with the family. I mean, the off seasons is not too bad as far as us with the hours go. I would say it's a little bit more normal, so that's nice in that regard. But when you can really just turn it off,
right,
for a little bit before we get into it. But most coaches will have projects. I have summer projects that I like to work on at a more leisurely pace, not up against it, if you will, preparing for maybe the preseason games and our first couple opponents, especially if it's somebody we don't really see very often, like the Rams. Got them early. And I'll do some more evaluation of how teams played us, particularly what were they, some of the nuances, just to kind of get a good feel for that. But a couple little projects. But other than that, it's a good time to refresh as well and recharge the batteries, because like you said, when we get back, it's on. We're rolling.
Yeah.
So the one good thing for us, it's a mental grind. We don't have the physical grind and the mental grind the players do. So we can handle the mental grind.
Boy, in this era of football, it's so different. I mean, back in 70s and early 80s, when no computers, no. I mean, it was like if you didn't have a 16 millimeter projector and have reel-to-reel film, you were at the mercy of whatever. Now, players, even now in this downtime with their iPads and computers, they can access and look at. Okay, well, I remember in this game, this defensive look they gave us, man, you can go back and review all that stuff and everything. And I know I'd probably be guilty of doing it. It's like you got to force yourself to, all right, like get away, and make sure you do some other things like you're talking about. But boy, in this technology era, man, it's like you can spend every minute of every day doing something if you decide to do that, can't you?
Yeah, it's truly amazing the amount of information that we have at our fingertips with the film and all the data that's broken down and some of those other services that have little different statistical analysis that you can generate. Oh, I need to go dig deeper and watch some tape on this area to see what this looks like. And we've got a guy on staff that our analytics guy, Sam, does a great job giving us reports on a weekly basis, and he's given some good stuff in the off season as well. So it's amazing. I mean, the word cut ups comes from old time coaches having to splice and cut film, like you said, 16 millimeter film. So I remember that. I played college football with watching 16 millimeter film. So
yeah,
they spent so much time literally having to cut, splice, and tape and build those cut ups.
Yeah.
But now we can do that with just a push of a button. So it's been a good thing. It's allowed us to be able to dig deeper, and that's why the games has become a lot more sophisticated and complex too, because of that. So that's a good thing. So it's pretty nice feature that we can take advantage of.
Coach, that was a gutsy move to implement. Okay, here's what we're going to do in this run game now. I'm adapting here, guys. You got to adapt with me. You have to have confidence and faith and trust in your players and everything, and you have to have something ready. And that's a big part of it, isn't it? You always have to have a plan B no matter what, don't you?
Always got to have a plan B. There's certain problematic fronts that you got to just know that if they have shown on tape. So that's really, you go back enough games to make sure. That's like my biggest fear is you didn't go back far enough and they showed this front or pressure and you just missed it by if you just watched one more game. So that's the last thing I want to ever, I was like, oh shit, I wasn't ready for that. So that's not an excuse. So you got to go back and watch all that. So, and then there's generic problems that throughout the league that maybe they haven't shown that, but you've got a history of dealing with that. So if we get this kind of a deal, what's our, top 3 calls that we got to get to, those type of things. So yeah, it's always plan B and even sometimes, oh shit, plan C. So, and that goes back to if your scheme's got to be sound, especially if you're such a heavy 11 team. And we're very, very fortunate to have such a talented quarterback who can understand and see all of that on the field and get us into the right calls. He's off the charts as far as his football IQ and his ability to execute on top of it. So we're fortunate that way. So we can have a lot of, play A, and if that's not the right look, go to play B. And then we always have this C outlet, whether that's a throw or you just check live audible to something else. So it's just allows us to put more on his plate to really just keep giving us the upper hand to attack a defense. So
I thought that you and everybody handled, Jonah had a tough situation, and he had to work his way through it. Everybody works their way through it differently, and no matter who the people are, what the situations are. And he seemed good, at the mini camp. Not cleared yet, but going to be cleared. You think he'll be able to go from snap one for you at training camp, or do you think there'll be a little bit of a ramp up period?
There'll be a ramp up period for him. I mean, we want to be smart with him. I mean, he had a significant knee injury, and
Yep.
he's been spending his off season rehabbing and getting his knee back to where he can be cleared. But it's not like he had the off season where he was working on getting stronger,
Yeah,
and improving himself from that standpoint. So he's going to have a ramp up period, whatever that is. Well, obviously I'll lean on the doctors and trainers to kind of give me some guidance on that, but there's no reason for us to overload him on day one. So I mean, it's just unrealistic and unfair. But he's a pro. He's handled himself great when he was in the building, and this is the best business and it's the worst business. That's why I say it's the greatest business. It's because it's the business of pro football. So we're all very fortunate, and I'm always brutally honest with the guys on that aspect of it, because it's just, there's no reason not to be. And he's handled himself like a pro, and so I'm excited to get him going in training camp and bring him along up to speed and getting him going.
What about LC, coach? Is he day one would be unrealistic there. Is he got a little bit of time frame before you think he might be able to roll once training camp starts?
Yeah, I mean he's, even I would say, not being a medical guy, but a little bit more significant knee injury, and so his is going to be a little bit more longer as far as his rehab process goes. That's really all I can comment on that. But the trainers and the head coach can talk more about time specifics. But I know it's going to be a while as he gets himself healthy enough to get cleared, and then that same ramp up period where now he's getting back in the football shape and playing shape as well. So looking forward to him overcoming that knee, and he's been looking good in his rehab and walking around the building. So it looks impressive. So
yeah, he does, man. He's a stud. He's a physical stud. What about you? Your surgery, coach? Everything copacetic there? Is it coming along well? Huh?
Yeah. I like to say the getting old little knee injury, meniscus. The doctor looked inside there and said, "Yep, it's brittle." That's what he came out with it. So yeah, I'm good. Crutches for a little bit, but getting better every day.
Yeah, it's good stuff, no doubt. I mean, man, it's this football team has so much talent. I mean, so much depth. The roster on this team is it's a heck of an accomplishment to roster on a football team like this. It really is. And I thought Jonah made a good point when he was talking to the media. He goes, you look at it and there's only 32 right tackles and only 32 left tackles in all of football, and I'm competing for one of those 32 positions. So it's a rare opportunity, and you got to you have to feel some gratitude to be in a position to take advantage of that. And that's exactly how you have to go about it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a great viewpoint that he had, and really credit goes to Duke and his staff and Zach with the team that they built in the locker room. I mean, it all starts in the locker room with the type of guy you got in there, and there's no divas, there's no egos, and I've been around a lot of locker rooms, and so have you, from my playing days and coaching, and it starts in there. I mean, I don't care how talented your team is, if you got a bunch of blank heads on your team, it's not good guys, it's going to bite you in the ass, because the league is too talented and competitive, and you're going to hit some valleys. It's not always high and good, and how those guys handle that, and get through that together, and not having selfish players is going to kill you if you got those type of guys. So we're farthest from that. It's impressive. So my hat's off to Duke and his staff and Zach and what they've been able to build and keep adding to the locker room. I mean, it's why we're in the position that we're in these last few years. So it's incredible. And Jonah's just another guy in the locker room that's got that same attitude. So, it's, like I said, it's a great business. It's an ugly business, but that's got to be your approach. And there's no reason to not, like to say, I like salty veterans. I don't like bitter veterans. Don't ever get bitter. I like salty. Get salty, get a little pissed off, you know, have a little shit in your neck, you know, that's good. I like that, but don't be bitter. I mean, understand this is a great opportunity for everybody, wherever your role is, you know, but to be able to compete and play and coach in the National Football League is a great blessing at the end of the day. And we're all truly blessed to be a part of the Bengals organization.
Well, that's so well said, Coach. And, you know, the Reds go on this 12-game winning streak, and all you hear about, you know, from Joey Votto coming back, the veteran guy, you know, coming back and being part of the locker room is how good the locker room is. Man, that's what it's all about. I mean, it's like if you have zero jerk factor, it's good to go to work every day, man. It's really, I mean, and when you can trust each other to that level, that, man, this dude, I know he's got my back. He's got my back no matter what. Then you know you're in good spots. You know, it's unbelievable. It's a great thing.
Team sports.
Yep.
It's a team sport.
Nothing like them. Coach, you're the best. Appreciate your time. Enjoy the mountains. Enjoy your family. And I'm looking forward to this season. I think this football team is so much fun to watch and cover. It's a joy on a daily basis, and you've done a heck of a job up front. Done a heck of a job scheming that run game. It's fun to watch, Coach. You're the man.
Well, I appreciate you. You do a hell of a job yourself. So my hat's off to you. So thanks for having me on again.
Thank you. Have the best time you ever had in Flagstaff.
I will do that. I might go have a cold beer right now.
There you go. Say hey to Wendy and the family.
I will. Same to you. Thank you.
See you, Coach.
All right, buddy.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.